This is Around the World, episode 16. In this series, I'm attempting to cook a dish from every single country in the world in alphabetical order. Today we're in Belarus, and this is draniki. Here's what's going on.
Welcome back to my series where I show you that eating healthier doesn't have to be boring or time consuming. And today we're making
spicy Korean barbecue bowl with a cucumber salad.
And this only took me 30 minutes to make.
Exquisite.
We'll start off by seasoning some chicken thighs with salt, pepper,
and garlic powder.
Then we'll add a tablespoon of cornstarch and set to the side while we work on the cucumber salad.
Cucumber, red onion, brown sugar, salt, garlic, soy sauce and rice vinegar, and sesame oil.
Now add cilantro and chili flakes and place in the fridge while we work on our chicken thighs. Sear on high heat for around 4 to 6 minutes per side or until they look like this. Then let them rest while we work on the sauce. To a tablespoon of butter, we'll add some garlic and cook for a few minutes before adding honey and some gochujang. Now add water and sesame oil, and my secret is adding those resting juices from the chicken thighs before returning the chicken to the sauce. Then serve it over rice with that cucumber salad and hit that follow for the next step.
Let's make lamb over rice halal cart style. Easily one of my favorite meals all time. Feed a food processor lots of onion and heartburn. Give this operation a jalapeno with its seeds. Then just blitz it until it's nice and fine like you. Now in the food processor we're gonna do half lamb, half beef. Empty out your bottle of oregano. Hit this with plenty of salt. Then just finish with cumin and paprika. The food processor is looking a little full. As you mix this all together, make sure you're pushing down the sides. I want you to line a baking dish with some parchment paper. We're gonna tightly pack it into our dish like this. And you really want to press down to make sure that there's no air bubbles. And just keep in mind it should be about 1.5 inches thick. And now this goes into the oven at 400 degrees. Make this recipe, you'll thank me right after. Let's make some rice. I'm using an extra long grain basmati rice. Then I'm gonna wash this rice in cold water and soak it for about 15 minutes. In a deep pot, start with some clarified butter. And then we're gonna toast our spices, starting with turmeric, a little cardamom and paprika. And then you want to finish with a little cumin. Once it smells nice and aromatic, go in with your rice. We just want to toast this down for a couple minutes. Now that our rice is nice and toasted, we go in with the perfect amount of salt. Submerge this in chicken stock and bring to a boil. Once your rice starts to negotiate back, shut it up with the lid. Drop the heat to a low and cook for about 15 minutes. As your rice and meat cook, in a blender, go in with some fresh parsley. Squeeze in lots of lemon juice and add in some vinegar. And then just quickly blend this all up. Toss this into equal parts mayo and yogurt. Dilute it with water until you get your preferred thickness. And then finally adjust it with the right amount of salt and pepper. So the meat took about 30 minutes and I've been letting it rest for at least 15. Then I'm gonna start making about 1/2-inch slices. Look, it's our homemade Euro meat. Oh my bad, it's not authentic Euro meat? Boo-hoo. This is to replicate the Euro meat they use for the lamb over rice in New York City, not Greece. Real quickly, chop it up like you work at a bodega. Sizzling hot pan is gonna get onions and peppers. Add in your makeshift Euro meat, and then just let this caramelize for a quick second. Rice came out super fluffy like me. Once that gets fresh tomatoes, the other gets lettuce. Top it off with your lamb. Then just finish it off with your beautiful white sauce. Oh. And as always, na bismillah. That bite was marvelous. I can't wait to devour this plate.
Okay, what are you having for dinner tonight? Because I think it's the perfect day to make this kofta and potato tray bake on a tahini yogurt that I made on this morning yesterday. Let's make baharatlı kofta and badades with yoğurtlu tahın. Everything cooks in 30 minutes and is served on this delicious tangy tahini yogurt. Are you hungry? The ingredients list is below and the full recipe is on the ITV Hub and This Morning YouTube channel. So once you've coated your potatoes in corn flour, olive oil and spices and pop them in the oven, on an oiled and preheated tray you can get your kofta mix ready. You can use lamb mince or beef mince or chicken mince or meatless mince, to be quite honest. I've got onions, breadcrumbs, dried mint, cumin, smoked paprika, pul biber, sea salt and black pepper, and an egg, but I didn't have an egg today so I just used a bit of extra olive oil. And then I shape the mixture, once I've mixed it together with my hands, into these 20 golf ball shaped balls. By the time I've done that, the potatoes are ready, so I've flipped them all over. Notice how I place them all cut side down first. Pop the kofta in the tray, brush them with oil, and then I get the tahini yogurt ready, which is some tahini, cold water, salt, some lemon juice, and then I go in, once I'm happy that it's a lovely consistency, with that yogurt. Spoon it straight onto a platter, smooth it out, and lay those deliciously crispy potatoes and kofta all over the top. Garnish with parsley, some more of those spices, mix together some extra virgin olive oil, pul biber and dried mint, and you have there a family feast that's absolutely delicious, loaded with sunshiny flavours, perfect with a fresh salad. Please make it.
I'm afraid I may have perfected the iconic chicken over rice at home. Let me show you how to make it. Let's start off with the rice. To a pan, add coconut oil, turmeric, cumin, cardamom seeds, cinnamon sticks, and bouillon paste. Let that simmer for about 20 seconds, then add your washed and soaked basmati rice in. Add some water, drop a bay leaf in, and cover with the lid to steam for about 25 to 30 minutes. Now for the chicken. Drizzle some olive oil in, add shawarma seasoning, cumin powder, black pepper, oregano, garlic powder, and of course the main character, sazon, to get that perfect orange color on that chicken. Squeeze half a lemon in and then mix. Now let's make the white sauce. You will add Kewpie mayo, sour cream, dill, squeeze of half a lemon, honey, and a dash of salt. Add a splash of water to thin out the sauce and your white sauce is done. I made a tossed salad of romaine lettuce, tomatoes, and cucumbers. Now it is finally time to assemble. I always need extra white sauce on mine and no red sauce for me because I am still traumatized from the first time I had the red sauce at my local restaurant and he almost took me out. They seriously need to have a warning label on that sauce. This recipe gave me about 6 servings with huge portions, so if you are making this for a smaller group, use half the recipe. And I'm really trying not to toot my own horn, but this was absolutely insane.
If it's one Middle Eastern dish that I feel like everybody should try, it's definitely kebsa. So let me show you how to make it. You're going to start with a hot pan and a 1/4 cup of neutral oil. Once the oil is hot, add in 2 diced onions and cook them until they're nice and caramelized. Then we're going to add in 2 pounds of meat of choice. I used lamb, but you can do beef or chicken. We're gonna cook it until one side is nice and caramelized and add in our whole spices along with garlic and tomato paste. Saute for 4 to 5 minutes to get the harsh tomato taste out. Then we're gonna add in our kebsa spices, mix for another minute or 2. And then we're gonna add in 6 cups of water or beef broth, whichever you have. I just used water. Cover and cook your meat for around 1.5 hours to 2 hours until it's nice and tender. Now it's time to add in your potatoes if you like, half a bunch of cilantro, and 3 cups of washed basmati rice. Now in order for the rice to fully cook, I added another 4 cups of water because I just had about 2 cups of broth left. Cover and let it cook on medium heat until your rice is fully cooked and there's no more liquid left. Finally, all there's left to do is fluff up the rice, serve, and enjoy. Now to make the salsa that goes with it, in a blender you're going to throw in 2 cloves of garlic, 1 or 2 chopped tomatoes, half a bunch of cilantro, a sprinkle of salt, and some chili for spice. Blend it together and enjoy.
This is my go-to dish I make when I don't feel like cooking. It's called arrayas. It's basically a meat stuffed pita and it takes less than 30 minutes to make. We're going to start by cutting our pita halfway down the middle and then we're going to make our stuffing. We're going to use ground beef and add garlic, feta, parsley, and a bunch of spices. I also like to add some dried mint and harissa. Mix that together really well and then we're going to open up our pita halves and start stuffing them. I like to add a lot of meat, that way they're a bit more filling. Once those are all prepared, we're going to add a little bit of olive oil to a pan and sear them on both sides until golden and crispy, and then also sear the meat side, and I promise the meat fully cooks. It turns out so juicy, and now we just enjoy.
Chicken biryani always sounds good. Let's make a small amount, enough to feed about 4 people. So with biryani, pulao, any type of rice dish, the wider the pan, the better. Heat up your pan, add some neutral oil. You want to add enough oil to at least coat the bottom of the pan. Then we're going to add our sliced onions and we're going to saute them until they're very golden brown. The more brown, the more flavor. So once you're done sauteing them and they look about this color, we can add our ginger and our garlic paste. And you want to saute those down into the onions to get rid of their raw taste. They're going to splatter a lot because they have a high water content and then you have hot oil in the pan. So just turn the heat down to low while you do this and then turn it back up. Add your tomatoes and then we want to saute the tomatoes until they're very soft. This will give us a very thick masala if the more tomatoes and the softer that they are. Then I'm going to add my boneless chicken breast that I cut into cubes. Saute that for a couple of minutes. Then we'll add a couple of green chilies. You can add more. Then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of biryani masala. This biryani masala does not have salt or red chili, so I'm going to add my own red chili and my own salt. That way I can control the heat. I like my food a little bit spicy, so I'm adding 2 teaspoons of red chili powder and about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. My salt is very finely ground though, so if you're using a coarser grain like kosher salt, you might need to add more salt than I did. Then I'm going to add some water and cover it with a lid and allow it to simmer for about 20 minutes just to make sure the chicken gets tender. Then we're going to boil our rice in some salty water. I use Sela basmati rice. I like the Zebra brand that comes in the yellow bag. And for me, the perfect amount of time to boil that is 12 minutes. But depending on the rice you're using, that will vary. Our chicken masala should be done by now, and now at this point we can just check, make sure the chicken is tender, and then we can add our layer of rice. This is 1.5 cups of rice. Spread it in an even layer. Add food coloring for that signature biryani look. Orange is my favorite, and then I'm gonna add some fresh cilantro on top. Then add the lid, and we're gonna dum or steam the biryani for 25 minutes and then let it rest for an additional 10 minutes before lifting the lid. Now the time is up, we can lift the lid, and look at how fluffy and perfectly the rice cooked. If you follow these instructions, your biryani should come out perfect every single time.
Today we're making the national dish of Venezuela, and it's one of those plates of food now. When everything comes together, it is quite literally a party inside of your mouth. So for our shredded beef, we're gonna add some garlic, cilantro, bay leaf, garlic powder, some all-purpose seasoning, and even though it's not traditional, I added some chili peppers and also add some salt and black pepper. Then I added half a kilo of stewing beef into the pot and cooked for 2 hours, and once the beef was tender, I removed from the pot, let it cool down, and I shredded it all apart like so. And now do not throw away your beef broth. We're gonna use it for the next two components of this dish. So now into a saucepan, you're going to saute some green pepper, red pepper, onion and garlic, add some seasoning, some salt and pepper, alongside some tomato paste and some tomato sauce. Now as always, I misjudged the size of my pan, so I had to change pans halfway through. I added in the beef and some more of that pre-stock. Now for the second part of this dish, I sauteed some onion and garlic, went in with some red and green pepper, introduced some canned black beans with all its content, seasoned with some cumin, black pepper and garlic powder. I stewed away until it reached a nice consistency like so. Then I cooked my 2-hour-long soaked rice, fried some plantain, and I put it all together with an egg on top. The full recipes are on my Instagram page at Zab's Kitchen, and enjoy.
You're gonna want to make this chicken over and over again with the best marinade. It's so easy, so good, and so delicious. Let me show you how to make it. As usual, I'm starting off by adding my tomatoes, parsley, onion, garlic, and this time some jalapeno into a food processor, and I'm going to puree that along with some yogurt and red pepper paste. You can use tomato paste instead, and some olive oil, and I'm going to let the mixture look like this. It's going to be a little bit chunky. And now, of course, onto the spices. I'm using spices like paprika, Aleppo pepper, coriander, a little bit of turmeric, garlic powder, onion powder, some salt, 7 spices, some sumac, and of course some lemon juice. I'm going to mix that well, and I'm going to lather that all over the chicken on the underneath side and underneath the skin, and I'm gonna cover that and let it marinate for 1 hour, and then I'm gonna bake it covered and then leave it uncovered to crisp up in the oven. I served it with some white rice, and of course I cooked down the marinade into a sauce. That's it. Enjoy.
You'll be surprised when I tell you
no es carne.
People that put you down for choosing meat substitutes are worse than the kids that made fun of me for taking tacos de frijol for lunch. Little reminder that just because someone's food is different doesn't mean you can be a bully. No, this isn't meat, but the texture is incredibly similar. It tastes amazing, it's better for my health, and I get to honor my culture. And that is what really matters.
Let's make some incredible kebsa. It's a very popular rice dish in the Middle East, and you have to give it a try. Your rice can never be perfect unless you're cooking in ghee. Once that melts, start caramelizing an onion. Give this lots of green chilies and heartburn. To this, we're gonna add the dude from the Apple Jacks commercial, a bay leaf, some dried lemon, star anise, and cardamom. Once it starts to smell like magic, toss in lots of tomato paste. This kebsa spice was shared by a family friend. Toss in lots of tomatoes, and then you're gonna toss in your chicken leg quarters. You are using white meat, we are not friends. Submerge your entire operation with water or stock. Then we're gonna shut this up with a lid, and we're gonna pressure cook on a high for 20 minutes. I really wish you could smell the kitchen right now. I want you to fish out all the chicken and put it on a rack, and then into this broth we go in with some washed basmati rice, and you're just gonna bring it to a boil, then cover and drop to simmer, cooking for 15 minutes, just like any other rice. Now on the chicken, I'm gonna brush some hot pepper paste, spices, and oil, then just broil in the oven until they're nice and golden like me. Lay your chicken out on top of your beautiful rice. Me personally, I hate nuts on top of my rice, so we finish with cilantro to help negate all those calories. Now we have final product, and as always, now bismillah.
Day 3 of 20 meals in 20 minutes, and today we're making
Crispy black bean tacos.
These crispy black bean tacos are always a hit. They're ready in less than 15 minutes. And the ingredients list is simple and cost effective. All you have to do is pulse a can of black beans with your favorite seasoning, spread into a tortilla with some shredded cheese. I'm using vegan cheese, but feel free to use whatever you like. Then pan fry until golden and crispy. I like to fill mine with fresh lettuce, a generous drizzle of chipotle sauce, some pico de gallo, and fresh lime wedges. And that's it. Grab the full recipe in the caption below, and don't forget to like, save, and follow for more.
I haven't eaten meat in 10 years, and in that time, I've discovered the secrets to making the best plant-based meals. These crispy rice and veggie stuffed spring rolls are filling, well balanced with rice for carbs, veggies for fiber, avocado for healthy fats, and tofu for protein. Roll these up tightly, and the secret to making the outside crispy is giving them a quick pan fry. I like to cut them in half, sprinkle on some sesame seeds, then dip in the secret peanut sauce. These are seriously addicting. Follow for more healthy recipes.
Out of all the dishes to kickstart 2025, I feel like it would be rude for me not to do a stew. And if you know me, you'll know that I'm literally obsessed with stews. I eat them all the time, I make them all the time, I dream about them. Wait, actually, no, I don't really dream about them, but esto está delicioso. And I've been telling you guys for ages, the Portuguese know their stews, so when they talk about stews, you just sit and listen. Anyway, this is one of the easier Portuguese stews. It's actually so simple that literally a toddler can make this. You literally slice, well maybe not the slicing bit, but you slice everything down, you layer it like so good. Onions, peppers, tomatoes, then you put some potatoes on top of that, some bay leaves go in, then you layer it again. Then you can use any type of white fish. Make sure you got the skin and bone in because it gives that little extra flavor. I'm not sure what this is called, I just bought it from the local market. Seasoned it with a little bit of paprika beforehand, some olive oil and some salt and pepper, and then I laid it in the pan, and it's literally, I told you before, it's so simple. You literally just pour some water. You actually can use fish stock if you want that extra bit of flavor, some white wine with the mandatory sip, a little bit of passata, some white wine vinegar as well, some black pepper, and always some salt. Then you're gonna add in some parsley right at the end, and it's simple as that. You just put it on the stove for 10 minutes and you're...
This is one of my favorite Iranian dishes. It's called zeresh kpoleba marg, and simply it's a chicken and rice dish that's super flavorful and absolutely easy to make. We're gonna start by dicing up our onions, and then I'm gonna fry off some Marylands and drumsticks till it's nice and golden, season with salt, go in with those onions, turmeric, and then let that saute down. I'm adding brewed saffron and going with water just to cover. You don't want too much, and then you want that to cook for about 45 minutes to an hour until the chicken is nice and tender, very soft. Make sure you leave that stock aside because we're going to need that. I'm frying off some tomato paste with some butter, then go in with your stock, give it a little taste for seasoning. If it needs salt, just add a bit of salt, and make sure you give it a squeeze of lemon because that's going to make a massive difference. Now that stock is going to go on top of the chicken, and you're going to bake that until it's nice and golden. All those flavors will come together. You're going to serve that next to some Iranian rice, and all that's left to do is enjoy.